If you've watched me for quite a while, you'll know that sometimes I'll try and play a game and I just won't feel it. I'll just bounce off and yeah, eventually I might come back to it, but a lot of the time I'll try to play a game like 4 or 5 times, just like maybe next time. I've got a couple installed right now that are exactly the same idea. But this series, the Dark Pictures Anthology, is something that really appeals to me in principle. I like horror media, as I've mentioned a lot of times. I like anthology works. And I love the idea of interactive movies. Like, way back in the day, I never played stuff like Phantasmagoria or Night Trap, things like that, but I was always interested in them. So now that we've got things like this where it's actually fully 3D realised, it isn't just a bunch of FMV scenes that you've got to sort of click between. You are actually moving around, you're investigating the world. I love that, and I love the idea of narratives developing based on your choices. That is something that really appeals. So yeah, Man of Medan was one of those things that, I bounced off the first few times, and eventually I went, no, let's try and get through, because I knew that there's some entries in the series that are better than others, and being an anthology piece, you don't have to play them in order, but I wanted to. I wanted to start where it all began, and play up to what I own, at least at the moment. So, Shaun Ashmore was the star for this one. Each one in the series has like a star. And I think he was pretty good in this. I enjoyed his performance. Conrad is unlikable, sort of, at the beginning. Again, it all depends on who you are, how you make certain decisions. This is one of the things that I really loved. I actually first saw this in another playthrough. I don't tend to play games that I've seen full playthroughs of already, but this was one of those exceptions because of the fact that your choices matter. I was on a mission that I would make everyone survive, even Conrad, so I tried to make him more likeable in many ways, but a lot of the time I was just acting for the character as what I think would be ideal for them. Fliss would not do certain things. Alex wouldn't do certain things, etc. So I did constrain myself a little to make it believable. If I was watching a film, the characters would not act as I wanted, they'd act true to themselves. So I kind of had like a hybrid model. Try and do it as true to them as possible, but if there's a decision that might lead to death, don't take that one. That said, one of the great things about this whole series is the decisions you think you're making to avoid death might lead to it. And that in itself is part of the joy. You're like, but I did this, oh no, of course, because I forgot to pick up this item, they're going to die now. Or choosing not to use an item. That is one of the great things of this game. You are trained early on that bad things happen, hit a specific button or mash a specific button, whatever it may be. You are guided into this QTE mindset of things come up on screen, do them. And that can sometimes mean that you kill other characters with the character you're controlling. I'm trying to be as spoiler avoiding. I know it's been out for a while, but it is one of those things I think it's more fun to play through yourself. Even though I first watched an entire playthrough. But there is a moment where one of the characters thinks a creature is attacking it. And first time I was like, well, the first sort of few seconds I was like, wait, I know something like this might be a result of the gas, this Manchurian gold thing, so this might not actually be something bad. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna try stabbing it, because it might actually be something bad. It might be one of the bad guys. And I got the result that I'd actually killed someone. I wanted to do a no-death playthrough. So, I don't like to do this. I don't save scum, as they call it, very often. But I wanted everyone to survive. So I loaded up that chapter again. Luckily, it wasn't too far from the beginning of the chapter. And I chose not to attack the creature. And of course, I then saved the person. But that's one instance. Most of my decisions worked out for the better. Now, there is the bittersweet element of that, because one character can escape early on to ostensibly go and get help. But that person will then come back when you've all left. So even though it technically gives me a everyone survived, this one person is now kind of going crazy on the boat, on the ship, should I say, on their own. But this was, well acted, well performed, well scripted. The people involved in this do love horror, and they love anthology horror in particular, and that shows. Their passion for this kind of thing really makes this an enjoyable experience. Now, and this will apply to all of them, some of the facial rigging, even though it was all sort of scanned from faces, but some of the facial riggings go a bit wonky at times, and I don't mean like in a glitch way, I mean some of the smiles seem too wide for the actor's face or something like that. But it's a minor niggle, and in fact, if anything, it's more kind of humorous when it happens. You just got this one character just beaming like absolutely crazy, even though they're just talking about something generally fun. So, yeah, Man of Medan as an entry, as the first entry into this series, I think did very well. But I can't go without talking about one of the highlights of the entire series, and I kind of left him at the end for this very reason. The actor playing the curator. The face isn't quite a match. Sometimes the actor's face isn't exactly what you see. With the big stars, it is them, but sometimes, people are slightly changed, like the model won't be a one-to-one. But with Pip Torrance as the curator, it wasn't his face, and that's what threw me, because I know Pip Torrance's face. But he's such a good pick for the role. If you don't know who Pip Torrance is, I promise you, you know who Pip Torrance is. He's been in so many things, particularly in British media, I will grant, but he's been in so many things that I can't even start listing because I'll just be here for such a long while. But he's got such a great tone, such a great presence, even through his voice work, and that's why I think he was a great pick. Seriously, look the guy up. You'll find at least 3 or 4 things you've probably seen him in, I'm sure. But yes, I will continue talking about this series. I've only played technically 2 others at the moment because I keep getting through Humble Choice rather than paying full price, so I will be talking about those. I won't be talking about The Quarry necessarily because I've had some technical issues with that, but I might be able to talk about it in the future. I'll see. But for now, that is it. That is me closing the book, if you will, on Man of Medan. So thank you very much for letting me talk about it, as always, and until next time, take care.